Most people think greatness is built in moments of inspiration. They imagine motivation striking like lightning, a sudden burst of energy that changes everything. Musashi knew better. He understood that greatness isn't built during exciting moments, it's built during ordinary ones, the days that feel repetitive, the workouts you don't want to do, the books that seem difficult to finish, the business that grows so slowly you question whether it's worth continuing, the practice sessions where nothing seems to improve. These are the moments that separate ordinary people from extraordinary ones. Not talent, not intelligence, not luck, but the ability to continue when nothing feels exciting. Modern life trains us to avoid boredom at all costs. The moment we stand in line, we grab our phones. The moment work becomes repetitive, we look for something more entertaining. The moment a goal becomes difficult, we search for another one. We have become addicted to novelty. Our attention jumps from one thing to the next, never staying long enough to build mastery. Musashi lived the opposite way. He practiced the same sword strikes thousands of times. Not dozens, not hundreds. Thousands. To an outside observer, it would have looked painfully boring. But Musashi wasn't practicing to entertain himself. He was training until skill became instinct, until action required no thought, until discipline replaced emotion. That's the difference. Most people chase motivation. Masters chase repetition. The world celebrates exciting beginnings. Few people admire quiet consistency. Yet consistency always wins. Think about the strongest person you know, the most successful business owner, the musician who can perform effortlessly, the craftsman whose work seems impossible to replicate. None of them became exceptional because every day was exciting. They became exceptional because they were willing to repeat the basics long after everyone else became bored. Musashi believed every repetition had value, not because each repetition was unique, but because each one strengthened who you were becoming. Today, we often mistake comfort for progress. If something feels easy, we believe we're doing well. If something feels repetitive, we assume it's time for a change. But boredom isn't always a signal to quit. Often, it's a sign you've reached the stage where real growth begins. Anyone can stay focused during excitement. Few people can stay focused during monotony. That's where discipline is forged. The person who keeps writing when inspiration disappears. The athlete who trains when nobody is watching. The student who studies after everyone else has stopped. The parent who keeps showing patience after a long day. These quiet moments never receive applause, but they create the person everyone later admires. Musashi understood another truth. Your emotions cannot be trusted. Some mornings you'll feel unstoppable. Other mornings you'll feel exhausted. If your actions depend on how you feel, your progress will always be inconsistent. Instead, he relied on routine. Routine removes negotiation. You don't ask yourself whether you feel like training. You train. You don't wait until you feel inspired to work. You work. Action comes first. Motivation often follows. This idea feels almost foreign today. We're surrounded by messages telling us to follow our passion, trust our feelings, and do what excites us. Musashi would likely ask a different question. What are you willing to do every day, even when it isn't exciting? Because that's what ultimately shapes your life. Small actions repeated consistently become extraordinary results. One workout doesn't build strength. One book doesn't build wisdom. One conversation doesn't build trust. One day of discipline changes very little. But thousands of ordinary days, those change everything. The greatest irony is that the people we admire most often live surprisingly simple lives. They repeat fundamentals. They protect their routines. They embrace boredom instead of escaping it. Because they understand something the rest of the world forgets. Mastery is supposed to feel repetitive. If it didn't, everyone would achieve it. The next time you find yourself becoming bored, don't assume something is wrong. Ask yourself a different question. Have I finally reached the part where real growth begins? Musashi spent his life mastering a sword. Most of us are trying to master ourselves. The weapon may be different, the process remains exactly the same. Learn to sit with boredom. Learn to repeat what matters. Because the person who can embrace the ordinary eventually achieves the extraordinary.